Hello, and welcome to season 15 of AGT Time. Cody Patterson here, along with.
Along with Jay Bach. Yeah, season 15. We are in it for real. It's not just online. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but how's this season going to play out? I don't know, man. It's crazy.
So we'll get into the episode in a little bit, but they kind of started off with that they only had 17 days before the shutdown, before everything was before the lockdown happened there in California.
Yeah, the first episode, it opened up saying 17 days before the lockdown. So uh, I don't know how many live, quote unquote, live episodes or, studio audience episodes we're going to have before we get to things have to change. So we'll find out.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting over the next couple of weeks what happens because it's just a lot of uncertainty right now. Before we get into the episode, though, we did want to talk real quick about the episode 4 of the online version.
Yeah. Let's not give these guys short shrift either. Um, I guess you want to take care of business, and then we'll jump into that stuff.
Yep, absolutely. You go ahead.
Okay, we are on Twitter at AGT Time. We're on Facebook at AGT Cast, or you can send us a good old fashioned email at agtcast@gmail.com. Of course, you could follow Cody Patterson at Cody L. Patterson, or you can follow myself at One Man Bander. Hop on the train like cool Tommy Socks did, and follow at One Man Bander.
That's right. We're starting to get some followers. Some of the acts starting to follow us. Tommy Socks started following Jay, and then he jumped on the AGT Time bandwagon. So we hope you can join us for the next few months. Follow us on Twitter. We'd really appreciate it. Also, leave us comments, reviews on Apple Podcasts, also on Spotify. We'd really appreciate that. Leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review. We may give you the golden buzzer or send you through the next round. We'd really appreciate the feedback. We started a PayPal to help out with some donations. To kind of help us pay the monthly hosting fees and maybe do some other exciting things. So if you want, you could send us a donation. We'd really, really appreciate it. And that's agtcast@gmail.com.
Yes, very good. All right, if you're enjoying the podcast, throw us a couple bucks. We would certainly appreciate it. So, yeah. With that, let's talk about the show must go online, part 4. There were 3 acts. We had Lauren O'Brien, Darius, and Aaron McCarthy. This is the same format as the first 3 show must go onlines, except it was 3 acts instead of 2, and they stretched it to more like 15 minutes instead of 10. So. With that, our first gal, Lauren O'Brien, she's 38-year-old impressionist, and she did 3 impressions. Do you remember Lauren O'Brien?
Not a whole lot from Lauren O'Brien. She didn't really do much of an impact on me. I do remember I wasn't that impressed with her impressions. They seemed kind of bland. It didn't really hit me. It seemed like the judges really, really loved what she did, but they didn't do a whole lot for me.
Yeah, I didn't think that the material was very good. She did three impressions. She did Lisa Kudrow, and she had a very good kind of Phoebe Boucher sort of style to her, and she would pop off the loud words every once in a while. It was good. She did Drew Barrymore with kind of the lispy mouth kind of stuff, and then topped it off with Sofia Vergara. And it's hard work to do the impersonation of somebody that you are in fact sitting in front of. So a bit of a gutsy move to do Sophia.
I do like it when these impressionists or these comedians make fun of the judges. It feels better. It feels more fun when they make fun of the judges because they're there in front of us. When they just do a random celebrity, it's Phoebe Buffay. We all know Phoebe Buffay from Friends, but when you do Sophia or you do Simon or you do Howie or even Bobby from Howie
Yeah.
Mandel. When they do those type of things, it feels I enjoy it more because they're making fun of someone that we know right there on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody in the room. It feels a little less malicious, maybe,
Yeah.
as well. Um, you know, one thing that I watch out for with impressionists is, are they telling me who they're impersonating, or are they impersonating them and giving me the context clues to figure it out? And all three of these, she introduced herself, hey, it's Drew Barrymore here, hey, I'm Sofia Vergara now. And I feel like that's like I said, it's not great material, but it's also kind of um lazy impersonating. Give me better material, a good enough impersonation that I don't need to be told who you're impersonating.
Yeah, and we'll kind of get into that as well later on with what's his name, Vincent Marcus.
Yeah.
Where he did the rappers.
Yeah.
If you're not into certain pop culture, and I'll admit, if and we'll get more into him later, but if you didn't know some of these characters or these celebrities, it might be hard to guess some of them. It was more fun when he did it, where other people were telling us who he was doing instead of him telling us who
Yeah.
they were doing. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree with you when they say, hey, Drew Barrymore here. Now if the judges were to say, hey, she did Drew Barrymore, then that'd be more interesting.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Judge's comments. Heidi said, it was good to see you on screen. We were able to see you so good up close. It was a lot of fun. Sophia said, I wish that my English was so perfect as yours. I think you were great. Howie said, the impressions is a talent I don't have. Your voices were great. I was a little less impressed with the material. So I kind of agree with him there. Simon said, you did Sophia while Sophia is watching. That's hilarious. It was so funny. So she got 4 yeses. And she is in consideration to
So weird, Jay.
go on to more shows, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Second act of the night, the second act of Show Must Go Online was a gentleman named Darius. He's a 29-year-old from Montgomery, Alabama. He's a Walmart employee. He's known around Walmart as the guy who sings all the time. He sings Stand By Me by Benny King. I didn't think that his computer microphone was doing him much for favors. It was a pretty poor recording. But he seemed capable. He seemed to have a lot of personality. Um, a kind of forgettable act, all things considered. I don't think he has much chance of winning, but he's likable enough. He's enough of a character. Do you remember Darius? Would you have any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I agree with you on the sound. It's difficult to do some of these songs online because you're having to deal with the technology, and maybe you don't have the tools and the technology necessary to put a good sound out. I think Chris and Sid kind of did it right in the first one, where he actually was in his truck. I know I questioned it. Do cars or trucks provide good a good place where you could record something like that? Well, it seemed like it did. He also had a good microphone.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the right tools, and obviously if you're on stage at AGT, you're going to have production level equipment. So if you're just doing it on your phone, that's really an obstacle that's hard to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So all in all, I kind of felt like he was a forgettable act, but I'm not going to plan on seeing him much. Judges' comments. The judges were all commenting on his appearance. Sophia said, you have beautiful teeth. Simon said, you have kind eyes. Howie said, your contagious smile we love. Heidi said, you light up the screen. They had other comments beside that, but
yeah.
It's like,
is that like when you go on a date and someone asks you how were they, and you say, well, they had a great personality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's nice. uh, yeah. So I thought that was interesting comments. Simon also said that he jumped out on screen. I love your voice and tone. Heidi said it was the perfect song choice for these times right now. Howie said your talent is great. So some pretty generic comments from the judges, but enough to give him 4 yeses and consideration to be on a future episode.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, these 3 for the show must go on. We had Erin McCarthy. She is a 40-year-old who lives on a farm in Oregon. Asked what's on her farm. Said alpacas, goats, chickens, got a cat and a dog. She wanted to be an opera performer as a career, but life happened, and she wants to literally get back on the horse. And I hate it when people use literally to mean, figuratively. But there you go. She sang a operatic song from horseback. They zoomed the camera out when she started, and there she was singing on a horse. How did Erin McCarthy strike you?
So when she came on screen, my wife and I immediately said, "Oh, she's an opera singer." Just by the way she was dressed, the way she was kind of holding herself, I was like, "Oh, opera singer. This will be interesting." And we expected her to sing opera. We didn't know what to expect from that, but then when they panned back, that was a bit of a surprise to see her actually on horseback. And we kind of talked about it for a bit that opera singers don't typically do well unless you're Jackie Ivanko. But opera singers don't typically do well on America's Got Talent unless you have a bit. Unless you're a child.
Yep.
Yeah, unless you have a child, unless you're a child, or you have some sort of bit or stick. Prince Poppycock or her or Jackie Ivanko, they're the ones that actually do a little bit better. If you're just a normal opera singer, you're not going to do well. So I actually applaud her for having this for riding on horseback. Now, is this something that if she is considered, will she be able to do this on the AGT stage? What sort of bit is she going to pull out once she actually gets on stage?
Yeah, I don't know how well alpacas travel, but
yeah, and I don't know if we've ever seen an actual horse on stage before. So
yeah,
that would be kind of. I don't either, and it'd be something new that we would see if she decides to do it. I don't know if just riding the horse is her bit, or if she has something else. So I'm now actually fascinated to see, what is it she's going to do if she's considered.
If she is in fact considered, I guess. The song itself, I couldn't figure out what it was. It had kind of a farm, ranch, sort of a hi-ho sound to it, but I wasn't familiar with the actual song that she sang. So
yeah,
if somebody could chime in and let us know what that was, if you classically musical educated people out there, I'd be curious to know what that's from or what that is. They went to Simon first for emotions, and he was just laughing so hard. He didn't really have much to say. He said, I got emotional there. Sophia said that was the most fun I had today. Heidi said, you are not horsing around, are you? You have range and it's entertaining. Howie said, when you take that opera and put it on a horse, it takes it to a place that I love. Howie said it's ridiculous, so it's a yes from him, a yes from Sophia and Heidi. Simon said no, but you have 3 yeses, and I love you, and you are funny. So it's enough to put her into consideration.
Yeah, so those were some pretty good acts. I think I enjoyed the opera singer a little bit more than the other 2, just because of her bit. If it weren't for that, I think it would have just been a ho-hum type of little webisode.
Yeah, and I was thankful for the horse. Otherwise, that's a completely forgettable act for me.
Absolutely. Yep.
It wasn't particularly great singing. It wasn't particularly funny or particularly impressive, but unique enough to be memorable. So I'll allow it. So so that was those 3, and then we are into auditions 1 from Tuesday, 5/26/2020. Amidst the quarantine, here we go. They introduce us, of course. We've got Howie Mandel, Heidi Klum, Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, all on stage. And I thought this was kind of a funny way for them to start the episode. We're introduced to Andy Erickson. I'm a 33-year-old female, and she's interrupted by a pig walking around in the background.
Yeah.
And let's forget about Andy Erickson. We've got the pork chop review to talk about, folks.
Yeah.
What?
Pigs. Pigs, Jay.
We'd never seen a horse on stage, but we can't say that we've never seen pigs on stage.
I was trying to recall. I'm sure there have been pigs
There
on
have been.
stage.
Heidi likes to go up and kiss the pigs. I
Yeah,
remember her kissing a pig in the past as well.
yeah. I was trying to go back and look and see what pig. I tried to dig through the Googles to see what pig acts we've had, because I know we've had pig acts before, but I don't believe we've had pig acts do dog tricks.
Yeah, and that's what we got. We got pig acts doing dog tricks. We're introduced to Les and Nina Kimes, and they have pigs that live with them apparently in their house. They adopt them as piglets, and they raise them as their children. And we've got Mac, who's a 700-pounder, and we've got Louie, the spunky little one, and two other pigs that are still nameless at this point. They are from Florida. What do you know about Florida people?
I know Florida people can be very exciting. I didn't know they raised pigs in Florida, but I guess they do. I see Florida as more of an alligator type state. People go
Yeah.
there to retire, so maybe they're retirement people.
It seems like there's some odd things that happen down in Florida. It's a weird little melting pot of the world. But
Sorry, our Floridian listeners.
No, we love y'all. Okay, so in the act itself, we saw one pig unroll the red carpet across the stage, and then Nina, the handler, she walked kind of slowly while one of the pigs weaved in between her legs. Then one of those medium-sized pigs, he jumped over 3 hurdles, 1, 2, 3, and they moved them together. And instead of jumping over all 3 of them together, he then crawled under them. Then another pig came and he jumped over the stack of hurdles. So it was 2 with 1 on top. So he jumped over the stacked hurdles. Had a pig roll the barrel or the wheels with his front paws. And then the last thing, we had the littlest guy come out in a baby carriage, and Mac, our 700-pounder, put his front paws up on the carriage and pushed that across the stage. So as far as, dog acts, like if we saw this as a dog act, it would be a big fat yawn. The fact that it's pigs is a little more interesting. The tricks weren't particularly impressive, but I gotta say I was smiling through the whole thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I was smiling through the whole thing too, and I heard that there's a certain pig that's terrific, and humble and radiant, and from a wonderful children's book. So we know pigs can be smart. And it's interesting you say that this would kind of be, it would not be memorable or be kind of a ho-hum type act. But I was thinking back that if we were to flip flop the pigs and the dogs from Alexis Brownlee's act, I think it would be very similar.
Yeah.
It seemed like these pigs did almost the exact same tricks that her dogs did in her act that we saw in the online episode. But being pigs, especially a 700-pound hog, makes it much more intriguing, because you don't expect them to be able to do tricks like this.
Yeah. 700 pounds is a big pig.
Yes.
I was thinking back. Have you been around pigs much in your life? Have you ever visited a farm or a state fair or anything like that? And
yeah, I mean, our local fair here, a county fair here in the area. They have livestock shows, so yeah, we go and we look at the pigs and the sheep and the cows, and I have friends that raise dairy cattle and all that. But I don't go there on a daily basis. But yeah, every a couple times a year, I may go and see the pigs.
yeah, and I don't know what an average pig is, but I was thinking too, when we go to the Iowa State Fair every year, they've got a big boar competition, and there's a few pigs that are entered, and the biggest one is always over 1,000 pounds. The record at the Iowa State Fair was back in 2012. We had a 1,335 pounds. So 700 is not all that far away from 1,000 pounds, and that's a big boy.
Yeah.
Who's up on those back paws moving. When you look at these 1,200, 1,300 pound pigs, like all they do all day at the state fair is lay there. That's
Yeah.
all they
Yes.
do.
Yeah. So according to Wikipedia, there is a long list of pigs, and they range anywhere from about 200 pounds up to, like you say, 1,500 pounds. They have some listed here. So yeah, there's a wide variety of, the pig, hog family.
Yes.
Boars would probably be also in that kind of family. So you can definitely get some different variations of bacon and pork chops from the many varieties in the pig family.
Yep. Yep. So all that to say, he's a pretty big boy who was actually able to, move around and do a trick. So that's worth something. Um, Judge's comment, Sophia said, for me, it was super fun. I want to see more. Howie said, I got to say, they seem to be incredibly cared for, and they're doing tricks we traditionally only see dogs do. It's very unique and exciting. Heidi said, I liked it too. I thought he was adorable, and I want to give the pig a kiss. So she finds her way up on stage, and she gives Mac a smooch, and Sophia joined her on stage, but wasn't quite so interested in giving Mac a kiss, just wanted to touch him. So
Yeah. So where does the pork chop review go from here, Jay?
boy, I don't know. It's tough to imagine that they're that the pigs are much more agile than what they showed us. I think, jumping in a straight line, pushing a thing across the floor, like that's about all that they have. Their dream of ending up on the Las Vegas Strip is a possibility, but they might be more panhandlers than stage performers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. They're not as agile as dogs. They're not gonna stand up on their handler is not gonna lay on his back, and they're not gonna stand up on his legs and do flips and all that stuff. But they can jump over some basic obstacles. They can go between feet. So it'll be interesting if they have a little bit more in the next round. This is definitely an intriguing type of act, something that's unique. It's one we haven't seen before. I would like to see them go far if they can give me a little bit of variety each round.
Yeah, and I really do appreciate unique acts. I'm happy that they're a part of the season, but I am not confident that we're going to see much of them.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong, but I think you're right.
All right, second act of the night. We've got. I think they go by the BAD Salsa, not just BAD Salsa. What did you catch?
I just kept hearing bad salsa, and they just kept saying, "But is it salsa?" And they would say, "Yes, but it's bad
It's
salsa."
BAD Salsa. It's BAD
Yes,
Salsa.
yeah. Apparently, it stands for something.
Yeah, Bivash Academy of Dance. I believe that's somewhere in India. And we get a full backstory about the BAD Salsa, made up of Sumanth and Sonali. Her dad was a farmer earning $1 a day, and they were very poor. They're proud and blessed to be on the stage. Grew up with no water, no electricity. The video package actually shows them as children. When I'm thinking, like, so this act is going through. It doesn't matter what they do. You don't produce this video package for an act that isn't going through. So he I guess they are a salsa dance duo. They had a number of really great moves. Before I kind of get into those specifics, did you have anything else to say about the BAD Salsa?
I just have a little bit of background on them. Just before we get into the act, I have a little bit more background on them.
Okay.
So apparently, Sonali won India's Got Talent season 4, and Sardar was a semifinalist in season 6 and 7, and then they also competed on Britain's Got Talent champions. So they've got some experience with the Got Talent franchise.
Okay. So they've been in and around the Got Talent franchise. Probably met each other through Got Talent, is what it sounds like.
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, they apparently were with the same dance company.
Okay.
So they were kind of just paired up, I guess, to come and compete on America's Got Talent.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
So
So
all this information is from the Sun in the UK. So that's where I'm getting my information from, is from the Sun.
okay. Well, they are a very good dance duo. They communicate well. They dance well. They get along together well. They do moves that I have not seen before. So good on them. Um, so yeah, I guess thanks for that extra information. Um, the first move, he starts by standing, or she's, I guess, standing up on his shoulders, then jumps up, does the splits, and he catches her like close to the ground, gives her a soft enough landing though. Um, and then I noticed that he was actually dancing barefoot through this whole thing. Lots of throwing and spinning and flipping, some of it in slow motion, just for extra effect. She did like this, like double cartwheel, where he kind of leans forward and she cartwheels sort of behind his head, and he catches her and he continues to flip her around like a whole nother rotation. Um, he spins her. Okay, this move I had trouble describing it, but she ends up like bent backwards with him facing away from her, and her head like between her knees facing up, and then she kicks her legs up and he reaches behind him and grabs her legs, and then she then lifts her body over his head so that she flips around, and then he catches her top half and she lands not like just safely in front of him, but like elegantly and safely in front of him. So it was like a whole double flip, up over his shoulders, where yeah, that was an interesting one. Another one that I'd never seen, she's like upside down with her legs in the splits, and he like tosses her up and she spins a 180 and he catches her in that splits again. She has to put her legs together to actually make the twist, otherwise she
Yeah,
would take his head off.
that maneuver seemed to be a favorite of theirs. They did that one several times.
Yeah, and I think maybe 6, 7, 8 times they did that in a row, but a cool move nonetheless. She did a handstand like up on top of his hands. He drops and catches her in that same like upside down splits pose, in his arms, like where his forearms would be like under her thighs, I guess. Um, Another one where she was horizontal above his head. I liked this move, and he's spinning. He's got both hands, like one by her knees and one up by her shoulders, and he spins fast enough that he can take his hand off her shoulders, and the centrifugal force keeps her up while he's just got the one hand clear down by her knees. So that was kind of cool, right? Like physics, right, man?
Yeah, your description of this is almost as impressive as their dancing.
Well, yeah. If hopefully you watched it and you can just appreciate it. But if this is if this is how you consume your AGT, hopefully you get it. And then the one last kind of cool move, she would do like backflips, and he would catch her so that she would like go like chest to the ground, and then feet up and kind of straddle his chest and chest to the ground, and like every time her chest was coming down on the ground, there was like a boing sound in their soundtrack, and it kind of highlighted how unique that move was, and kind of jarring a little bit. So I was thinking, man, if Howie makes a good salsa joke, that wasn't bad salsa, that was good. I'm gonna be like, man, Howie, you can do better. But he did say, you are the opposite of bad. You're surprising, energetic. It looked dangerous. It was fast, entertaining. Loved it. Heidi said it was amazing. Sophia said, I wanted to dance, but then I got scared because I couldn't take my eyes off you. Heidi, again, you did so many moves that I have not seen before. Simon said it looked like a movie and fast forward. It was amazing. So it was 4 yeses from the judges for the BAD Salsa. What were your thoughts on the BAD Salsa?
Okay, so here's my take on it. It's undeniable that they're very fast. They're very accurate. Their maneuvers are very complicated. What they did was very impressive. Here's my but. on this. It's not salsa. So, because salsa is a certain type of dance played to a certain type of music.
Okay.
So they were doing half of it. They were then playing their, Indian music, their native Indian music,
Okay.
instead of salsa music. So it is kind of bad salsa in a sense that they're not really doing the full salsa part of it.
Okay. Okay.
They're only doing half salsa. So yes, they're doing it. They're doing the maneuvers impressively, the salsa maneuvers, but they also need to do the salsa music. Um,
So if they had come up and said, "We're Sumant and Sonali, we're going to dance," we have no problem with them.
no, I'm not saying I have a problem with them at all. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, but I'm just saying if they're going to do salsa, do salsa. And if they're not going to do salsa, they're going to do a hybrid of it. Call it something new. Call it something inventive.
Call it BAD Salsa.
I guess so. Half salsa. It's half salsa. I don't know. Yeah.
Speaking of half, did you notice when they were done with their performance and they were talking to Terry Crews afterwards? Did you take note of that interaction at all?
I did not know.
Okay, they appear to be about half his height. Like Terry Crews is a big dude, but they look just itty bitty compared to him.
Yeah. Now she's 15, so she should be.
Oh,
small.
She is.
Yeah, I think he's in his. I wish I wrote down his age. I think he's in his 20s, but it really caught my ear. She's 15.
I did not see that. That must have been.
Yeah.
Were you looking at the Wikipedia article or the wiki? Yeah.
No, she said it. She said when they were doing the interviews that she was 15.
Oh man, I missed that.
I did not specifically catch his age, but he's not a teenager. He's older.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's interesting. I did not know that she was only 15. It does not change my opinion. She's still a great dancer. So she's even a great dancer for a 15-year-old.
Yes, they are great dancers. My only issue is that it really wasn't true salsa, because they didn't do the music part of it.
Okay,
that's all.
All right. Well, I blame the person that named their duo. Then I thought they were fantastic. I could see them going quite a ways.
Yeah. How do you think they would fit into V Unbeatable?
I think that they would dovetail wonderfully with V Unbeatable. I would not be surprised if they, in fact, ended up as an opening act or a, intermission act or, between sets for V Unbeatable. I think that they're very good. They would dovetail nicely with their target audience. Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. The fun act. I expect to see a lot more of them. So.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, I'm just going to say that this is where we saw our can dancing whoopee cushion.
Whoopee cushion dancer. Yes.
Yeah. What was her name? This was shoot. I'll get to it later.
I don't know if we got her name.
I looked it up, but
I just wrote down whoopee cushion dancer.
Yeah, in the wiki, Eileen Chase is her name.
Okay.
I got off the Wikipedia on this, so
yeah,
we'll talk about her when we talk about the rest of the rejected acts.
Yeah, and that's fair. I just quickly want to say I'm glad they're sticking these in periodically, and not just having fantastic act, because it and that was one of my irritations from last season was that every act they said yes, it was 4 yeses across the board.
Yes.
And how much I love just a little bit of controversy, just a little bit of chaos. I want to see my judges bicker just a tad. They didn't do it with this, but it was still nice to kind of see, hey, they are still allowing some bad acts to kind of peek in every now and then.
Yeah. When it's obvious that they're going through, when it's clear that it's going to be 4 yeses across the board, like there's not much interesting. Not much interest to that. So
yeah, I want some drama in my talent show.
Okay. All right. Well, what I'll call the third act of the night, a singing duo called Broken Roots or Broken Roots, depending on what part of the country you're from, I guess. What do you say? What am I supposed to say?
Roots.
Roots? Okay.
Roots.
Broken
Yeah.
Roots. Joey,
So
30.
so were they part of Jimmy Fallon and the Roots and they broke up?
I doubt it. uh, I doubt it. Yeah, Broken Roots. We got Joey, 37-year-old, Austin, 44-year-old. One's a homicide detective. The other said he's a former law enforcement, but I say former because I'm opening a music school for kids. So it's like they're just hitting all the right notes, right? It's
Yeah. America's got feels, Jay.
America's got feels. America's got feels. So they said they met 6 months ago, and tonight they are playing for their first time together in front of a crowd. I guess they certainly have practiced together. So they do the song "Dead or Alive," Bon Jovi. They've got nice, growly voices, acceptable harmonies. It wasn't, anything mind blowing. Ends with Joey giving a nice big long "Wanted," and then real quiet, "Dead or Alive." I don't know. It America's got feels like they're clearly going to be going through and da 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 da. But what do you think of them as a band, as a on their talent alone?
Yeah, on their talent alone, I loved it. And I thought it was a great song choice. They played their own instruments. There's two of them. They got harmonies. It's not just one guy with a beard standing up there playing his guitar. They played a cover, but it was a great cover. I thought it was fit them perfectly. The captions actually said country rock. So it's like AGT was saying they kind of put their own little twist on it. I don't know if I caught it as country rock. It still felt like Bon Jovi, but I loved the harmonies. I loved the acoustic guitars they did. Those guys seem like they're great bros. I thought they got fantastic voices. It almost reminded me a little bit of like American Hitmen.
I'm not familiar,
If
but
you remember
okay.
those guys, yeah. So it reminded me a little bit of those guys, even though that was a full rock band. I feel that these guys, if they had kind of a band with them, they would sound fantastic. I think these guys seem to have a lot of fun. I think they could pick some great 80s rock type songs, the Bon Jovi type songs. They could probably pick a bunch of those, even some country songs that I think they could have a lot of fun with. These guys are great. I don't know how far they'll be able to go. I'm hoping they can go far because they seem like they're a lot of fun. They seem like they're some good guys. I hope to see more of them.
Yeah, I think they have some polishing to do, and they've got a really great foundation to build on. It'll be interesting to see what else they can do with some more practice, some more time together, and actually sort of building their rapport and their repertoire, and make sure that they're playing together, not just next to each other. Howie said, I can't believe this is the first time you've been on stage together. Heidi said, I loved you guys. I love the tone of your voices. Not too shabby for your first time. Sophia said it was beautiful to see that you got so emotional. To me, it was perfect. Simon said, tell me about your families.
Yes, let's get more feels in there.
I've got a beautiful wife and kids, says one. The other one said, I've got kids, but my wife died, and now I'm seeing another woman, and I've got a third child on the way, or whatever.
It's almost like it's almost like production whispered in his ear, ask him about his family. It's like,
oh, what's this? A softball to toss up on stage? Golly. So Simon didn't actually have any critique or anything to say about it, but that's that. So 4 yeses from the judges, no surprise. They're going through, and that's that, I guess.
Would you have given them a yes? You didn't seem too high on them. Would you have given them a yes?
I cannot say yes or no. I'm not very high on them.
Okay.
But sometimes I wonder what what's the right criteria, right? Like, do I
Yeah.
think that they're going to win? No. Does that mean that I
Yeah.
shouldn't put them through? Not necessarily, right?
Yeah.
You know, are they entertaining? As entertaining as I guess they could be or should be, given what they are. But if I had my druthers, I wouldn't put any singing act through. Maybe, I don't know. Like, there's
I
they're
yeah,
so
my
different
criteria.
from the pork chop review. Like, what are you gonna say?
Well, yeah, yeah. My criteria in these audition rounds is are they talented? I mean, are they good entertainment? They may not be top notch right off the bat, but as long as they're in tune, they're giving me some entertainment. It's not completely boring. My criteria is pretty low at this round. It's that next round that's when my really, of course, up the criteria, and you have to.
Okay,
But
okay,
I just be kind of, as long as it's not. I mean, even some silly stuff, as long as it's not terrible, I'd put some silly things through.
yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, and I suppose the judges round is there to kind of weed out some of like, oh man, we've got so many guitar playing duets. We need to weed
yeah,
some of these guys out.
yeah.
Let's
We
pare it
we
down.
we've put 100 people in. We got to get this down to about 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, I can see why they're through. I don't have a problem with them being through. Would I put them through? I guess, if you're going to push me, I'd say no. Maybe I wouldn't.
Okay. Okay.
So that's that.
Yeah.
All right. Fourth act of the night. You ready to talk about Malik Dope Drummer?
Yeah. He needs to work on that name.
Yeah, I think
Doesn't really
maybe he goes by
flow.
Malik Dope. I don't know. Malik.
Yeah. And
Uh,
and the dope is all caps. I don't know if you were aware of that.
yeah, I that's what I wrote down in my notes.
Okay.
Malik Dope Drummer. His video package, he's saying, I remember my grandma telling me to keep it down. I always wanted to be a collegiate drummer. So he chases his dream. He does perform or play with the collegiate drum line. He becomes a street performer. Could have given it all up. He was missing meals. He was sleeping where he could. Ended up falling asleep behind the wheel. Ended up in the hospital. And so we've got his sob story, right? The necessary why do we feel bad for you, and why do we need you to win $1 million story. He says, I'm going to show you drumming a way you've never seen before. So he's up on stage. He's got a row of, well, I guess like 6 marching snare drums, and then one like a practice pad in the middle of that row there.
Yeah. Some sort of tom. Yeah.
Yeah, a different sounding drum anyhow. The song that he performed to was called Look at Me Now, featuring Lil Wayne and Busta Rhymes. Are you familiar with the song?
I was getting ready to ask. That was an actual song? I thought he made that up.
I looked it up. That opening line, let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there, homie. I Googled that and came up with Look at Me Now. A lot of like, beatboxing sounding, like quick rap sort of noises that he was drumming along with. Did a lot of tricks. He was like holding them in his elbows, and he was also, of course, dancing along with it too. His feet were moving like mad. He kind of danced down the line of his 6 snares. He moonwalks, doing flips and spins and playing along with it. I felt like I could tell that he was a trained drummer. Like he had been, classically trained on how to drum, not just a street performer, or I don't want to say just a street performer, but his skills looked like they had been taught by a professional, not just picked up along the way.
Yeah, I think you may have missed the part then in his package where he talked about he wanted to go to college and be on a drum line like the movie Drumline.
Yeah,
I was like,
yes, I did see that.
Where's our Nick? Where's Nick Cannon? I was like, this is the perfect time for Nick Cannon to roll out.
Yeah.
So he went to college. He was actually on a drum line in a marching band. So yeah, I mean, it would make sense that for 4 or 5 years he he took lessons, and he was actually being trained by an instructor, and
Yeah, and
his
certainly for years before that to make it
yeah,
into college as a
yeah,
drummer,
and to
to
make it
be on
into
the
the
drum. Yeah.
drum line, right? Yeah.
Um, yeah, he had one trick where he was like he would jump up and he'd uh, use the drumstick under his leg to hit the drum as part of it and keeping it all in rhythm. Pretty cool. Good dance moves, all around pretty entertaining. Howie said, "You're a dancer, an entertainer, a drummer. This is the kind of show that I'd love to go see. Can't wait to see what you do next." That was dope. Because his middle is Dope, right?
Yeah.
Malik Dope,
Yeah.
drummer. Sophia, I couldn't think. I wanted to get up and dance. I loved it. Simon said, "We haven't had an act like you before, or even close to being as good as you. I think you're super, super, super talented." And Heidi said, "You're moonwalking and playing at the same time. I want to see what you're going to do next." So believe it or not, we got 4 yeses. No dissent on this one.
No, I enjoyed this. I didn't get the song. I thought it was something he made up, but I really enjoyed this. I've always been a big fan of drummers. When I was in high school, or when I was a kid, I played the trumpet, but I always wanted to be a drummer. I was always fascinated with percussion. So um, I kind of enjoyed this. Some of his moves were unique. Um, but I'm not sure, what he can do with 6 snares every week. He's got to bring something new each week. Um, so color. He's got to make it colorful, and maybe he's got to have some more. I don't know, but he's got to do something to kind of up the game each week, rather than just moonwalk with 6 snares.
It'll be interesting to see what he does when he has, at his disposal what AGT production can offer him.
Yeah,
Pyrotechnics, fire. I don't know. Like you
yeah,
love to see
yeah.
fire on stage, right?
I love to see fire. Yeah,
How about,
it's
how
like
about some burning drumsticks? That sounds cool, right? I don't know.
yeah, yeah. But he's got to get through judge cuts, so we'll have to
Yeah.
see what happens at that point.
Yeah, I think there's places he can go. He has a lot of potential. A really fun act for me. Anytime I see somebody who has mastered an instrument and taken it to a level beyond where I've ever seen before, I love it. I'm really happy to
Yeah.
see this. All right, 5th act of the night. We'll keep rolling through here. We got a gentleman named Ryan Trix. Do you think that's a stage name for a magician?
That actually is a stage name.
Okay.
His real name is. Give me one moment. I had it up. His real name is Ryan Hicks.
Ryan Hicks. Okay.
Yes.
Just
So he just changed it to Tricks.
Not that different. Okay. So Ryan Trix is a magician, 28-year-old. He's got tattoo sleeves and tattoos up on his neck. Pretty aggressive choice, if you ask me. He works in sewage treatment, has a PSA. He says, "Don't flush your wipes, folks. I have to clean it out of the pumps." Got a 6-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter. He says, "Simon and Howie, you guys are BFFs. I want to test your subconscious connection on stage." So has them come up on stage, has them sitting at opposite sides of the table with Ryan sort of facing the audience between them. Has a deck of cards that he shows to Simon. He spreads it all in a line face down. Same with Howie with a different deck of cards. And they both randomly choose one out of their deck. And lo and behold, it's matching cards. I have no idea how he did that. That was a really good trick.
Yeah, very unique. We've never seen anyone do this before. Even Shin Lim never did that.
No, that was a good one. They both chose a 5 of clubs. Yeah, I think I'm curious to see the rest of the deck that he then pulled away off the table. But man, it looked to me like he had, he spread it out, and you could see that it was all different cards. He flipped it over and spread it out, and he picked one, and there you go. So
yeah, I did find it interesting that he pointed out both times that they didn't need the box.
Yeah, could have been a red herring. I don't know. Some obfuscation. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, maybe when he's taking that box and putting it down below, he somehow palms a card or something. I'm not sure. But
yeah.
All right. So he then blindfolds Howie, and he does kind of a trick that we've seen before with mentalists or magicians, where he touches then the back of Simon's hand, and Howie reacts, to raise his hand or whatever accordingly as he touches Simon's hand. So we've kind of seen that before. And then he hands Simon a thing. He says it's actually a cookie. And Howie's still blindfolded. He says, what do you imagine Simon holding? And he says, it's a cookie. And he takes it off, and lo and behold, there he is holding a cookie. So I thought it was a pretty good little act. I was impressed with Mr. Tricks. What say you?
Yeah, I absolutely love this guy. You know how much I love my mentalists, and the the last couple of years I've not been high on the close-up magic because I think I just got shin limbed out.
Shin limbed up to your shins.
Yes. So this might be something refreshing because it seems like he does some different things. He seems like he has a great personality. He just doesn't sit there and do tricks. He actually interacts with the judges. And he's funny. He's funny. So it just seems like he has a wide range of things that he can do. On his wiki page, it mentioned that he was also on Britain's Got Talent, Series 7, and
okay.
According to the article here, it said Ryan performed a controversial effect in his audition to have Alicia Dixon play Russian roulette with a staple gun against his own head. So
okay.
he's not just a close-up magician. He's kind of a danger act. He's a mentalist. He's got a wide breadth of things, which I think will really, really help him as long as he picks the right tricks and nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, you always want for any magician for nothing to go wrong.
Right. You don't want a flaming arrow to get shot in your neck.
Yeah. For example,
yeah.
you
Those
don't want
standard things. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I'm curious if that was a controversial choice. I could see why it would be. But yeah, that's the thing about magic is it is supposed to always give the appearance of danger without actually being dangerous, and that's that's one of the things about magic that is true. So anyhow, Sophia said that was incredible. It was like from the moment you started talking, I knew you were going to entertain us. Heidi said the magic was absolutely amazing. You did fantastic. Simon said there's something about you that I really like. So 4 yeses from the judges for Mr. Ryan Tricks.
No comments from Howie.
No comments from Howie on that one. Yeah. Which there's probably like between acts him saying like I don't know how he did it. It was amazing. So it's
yeah. We also found out that he's the same age as Sophia's son.
Yes.
I thought was a random thing for them to kind of insert in there.
Yeah. Well, they want to get Sophia some airtime. Make sure that she's a sympathetic character for all the new viewers watching her.
Got to get her related to the act somehow, right?
Yes.
Relate to him.
Yeah. Okay. Next act of the night. This is an interesting one. We got Archie Williams from Louisiana. He's a old black guy, looks like he's going to be a soul singer. And they say, well, Archie, tell us about yourself. He says, I was just incarcerated for 37 years for somebody else's crime, and DNA freed me. Talks about how in December 1982, there was a woman that was raped, and he was the one that was sentenced to life. Even though there was no matching fingerprints, he had 3 alibis. But he ended up in prison, and the Innocence Project sort of took up his case, and they proved that this serial rapist was the one that raped this woman, and he was set free. So he spent 37 years in prison, and now he's going to sing a song for us. That's a terrible injustice. It absolutely is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I make fun of the America's Got Feels of it all, but that's a terrible story, and I'm sorry that justice was done so poorly uh, on his behalf. So um, he's going to sing for us. It's Elton John's "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me." Um, I thought he was going to have like a really gruff voice, and there was a touch of that, but there was times when he was just super smooth and under control, really used dynamics well. It felt like every note and every beat was very intentional and very on purpose, but not like robotic, but just really designed to highlight the emotions of the song. I thought, the backstory of Archie Williams aside, this was a really well done song. What do you think of Archie?
This is one of the acts I think they've kind of been teasing for a while. They've been premiering it on their YouTube channel. I think in all the commercials they've kind of had him. So this is a guy they've really been talking about for a while. Um, and yeah, his story is very unique. It's not one we've really ever heard before, but it can't always be about the story. It's terrible what happened to him, but it can't always be about that. He has a fantastic voice. I think in his package it also talked about how he would sing while he was in prison. I think he formed a band, so he was honing his craft even throughout the whole time he was in there. So it's not just something he picked up. But then he comes out, he sings it. I think Elton John even tweeted out that he heard Archie sing this. So um, it's getting some notoriety, it's getting some attention. But I thought he actually did a pretty good job. I thought this was going to be our golden buzzer for the night. I thought they were going to kind of change it up a little bit this season. I was very curious how they were going to do golden buzzers this
Oh,
year
optimistic you.
with just 17 days of stuff to record. I thought, are they even going to have golden buzzers? Did they even get a chance to do them?
Yep.
And then when he comes out, I really thought, okay, they're going to stick it in the middle of the show this time rather than wait until the end. But
Mm-hmm.
that didn't happen. Some interesting things I'm going to throw out here. So as you know, Jay, I keep track of how long people are on screen.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got my numbers here. And Archie, okay, well, let me go back to this, that there were two acts. Okay. For the most part, acts were on screen from anywhere between 5.5 to about 7 minutes. The 6 minute range was where almost everyone kind of fit in.
Okay.
Okay, we had
Okay.
one that was down at 5.5. We had two acts that were over 9 minutes
Oh wow.
on
Okay.
screen. Yeah. Archie was the longest at almost 9.5 minutes on screen.
Okay.
So the longest part was his intro at 3.5 minutes, and then his
Yeah.
performance was a little over 3 minutes. So they really dug deep into that intro and that backstory on Archie. So this is someone they've been wanting to really put out there.
Yeah.
That's why I really thought this was going to be the golden buzzer for the night.
Yeah. Again, his video package had shots of him, as a prisoner singing with his group.
Yeah.
No doubt that he's going to be going through. The singing was fantastic. I think he has a lot of soul, and
Mm-hmm.
like you said, he's honed that craft despite being in prison. Um, but yeah, man, I was also surprised that he wasn't the golden buzzer. I thought, with all this buildup, it's got to be right. But
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the way that I think Howie was talking at first, I thought Howie was going to do it. And then the way Simon was talking at the end, I really thought Simon was going to do it. So they didn't do it. And I'm not going to say I was disappointed. I was a little surprised
yeah,
um,
and
that they didn't do it on him.
again, this is just our lack of knowledge of how they do the golden buzzer. It seemed like this was Terry's night to give a golden buzzer, so we were waiting for Terry Crews to do it, um, and he didn't do it on this one. So, had it been Howie's or Simon's night to do it, I absolutely imagine that he'd be a golden buzzer. But
Did
judges,
they specify at the begin? Did they specify at the beginning whose night it was? Because I must have missed that.
I didn't catch that in the beginning,
Okay.
no, but in the past that they've said, like, oh, it's so and so's night for the golden buzzer. So traditionally or historically, that's been true.
Okay.
Maybe it's different. We don't know. They keep plenty of things behind the curtain for us, but
Yeah, and with everything that's going on right now, they only had 7 days of production. Everything's kind of up in the air.
mhm.
Everything we see is going to be new and different from what we've seen in the past.
Yep. Heidi said, I don't cry for a whole lot of things, but that did it to me. This was very powerful. Howie said, I cannot imagine if there's anything that can be given to you. It's the love that you are getting from this crowd. Sophia said, even though you did 37 years, they didn't break you. I can picture you watching the show, holding on to something, and now here you are, and we love you. Simon said, that song took a whole new meaning to me. You have a really good voice. You really do. This is an audition I will never forget in my whole in the whole of my life. An audition I will never forget in the whole of my life. So yeah, 4 yeses from the judges. Again, really surprising backstory. Really talented musician. And I just said not long ago that if I had my druthers, I wouldn't put any singers through. But man, this is one that I might break that break that rule for.
Now, you're doing it on talent, or are you doing it on feels?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Okay.
But I think ultimately on talent. He's a very talented singer. I would like to hear him sing more.
Okay.
So, all right. Next act of the night, we got a gentleman named Dan Nauman. He's going to do an original song for us. I believe it's called Funky Space.
Funky Space, yes.
And so he's some music plays and he dances around with a sort of classic alien mask, like the big eye, like triangular, like guitar pick shaped mask over his face. And then he stops and he lifts up the masks and says, Funky Space at the appropriate times. One time he said funky outer space instead of funky space. And that was
That's
enough
even
for
further.
the judges.
That's not just normal space. That's outer space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sophia said, I like your pants, but that's not my type of song. Simon said, never give up. Howie said, I think that's bad advice. Maybe he should give up. So 4 no's from the judges for Dan Nauman. I didn't have much else to say about him.
No, I think I tweeted through our AGT Time Twitter account. I said, we need more Dan Nauman in our life.
So you're
he seemed very excited.
Dan.
He was very eager to get out on the stage. He was very excited. It seemed like a really nice guy. So I was like, we just need more Dan Nauman in our
life. There is some entertainment value to it. This is not the kind of act that I really need to see more than once.
No.
All right, so that was Dan.
Is this our Seth word for season 15?
Boy, I don't know. I think we can find something more Seth word than Dan Nauman.
Okay, we got to give it time. Seth word didn't grasp onto Seth word immediately. It took time to kind of.
It took a little bit. You're right.
Appreciate.
It took a minute.
Took time to appreciate Seth word.
Okay, next act of the night, we got the Old School Skaters from San Diego, California. They're looking to travel and teach, and we want the world to see that roller skating still exists. And they
Billy and Emily, hello.
They skate and dance. Billy and Emily England also roller skate. They skate, dance to I Will Survive. They start by doing like a figure eight and some like high hand jive actions, like step touch kind of business. And they're getting the X's from the from the judges, and then a guy with actually some serious roller skating talent comes and joins them just as the last
Yeah.
buzzer is buzzing.
Yeah.
And so we don't get to see the big reveal that like, hey, there's actually somebody here who has some great talent juxtaposed us guys who really don't.
Yeah.
And he says, but you didn't get to see the and he does the splits, and he raises himself back up on his wheels, and Simon said, you should have come out sooner. And
Yeah.
that was the end of the old school skaters.
Yeah. So let me just ask this real quick, Jay. In the past, they've given some acts second chance or let them start over or whatever. Why didn't they give them another chance? Why didn't they let them kind of, not this guy actually came out with some real skills. Why didn't they give him another chance?
They were not entertained enough.
Oh.
Not enough. Not enough.
Do you hold back a weapon like that, or do you stick him out there at the beginning?
Well, what they wanted to
it's like a big reveal.
It's the classic big reveal, but you have to be good enough to get to the big reveal. And that if you design an act so poorly that you can't even get to the big reveal, then you lose.
Okay. I felt bad for him, but okay.
I did too. I would rather have seen the talent and have them be judged on the talent. But part of what you're doing is putting together an act for 2 minutes. And if you get buzzed before your 2 minutes is up, that's them's the shakes,
Yeah.
You did a bad job designing your act.
I guess so. Now, if this were maybe 3-4 seasons ago, 2-3-4 seasons ago, somewhere around in there, if this were then, they probably would have told the older people, you can go, let him stay.
Sure. Yeah.
And let's see what he does.
Yep.
And then put him through.
I would not have been too surprised to see that. And like you said, I did kind of feel bad for him. Like there is actually some talent there, but
yeah,
he held on to it
too long. They held on to it about 10 seconds too long. Yep. Okay.
Yep. All right. Next act of the night, we got a gentleman named Michael from Munster, Indiana. Calls himself a performance artist. There's a rug on the stage and a chair on top of the rug, and he sits on the chair, and he's got a sock on one hand, and it gives it a high-pitched voice, and it's his mom revealing that she's going to need a surgery, and the sock on the other hand comes out. It's, oh, hey, little brother. He says, I have money for mom's surgery. Where'd it come from? I stole it. Oh, I feel so bad. It makes me sick. And then that little brother sock then quote unquote pukes on Michael, and there's immediately 4 buzzers. Thanks for showing up, my friend.
Yeah.
So also, taking a pin out of Eileen Chase, our dancing whoopee cushion. Now we've got 4 rejected acts. These are the 4 rejected acts of the night. Our can dancing whoopee cushion, who like in her song, it would stop and have like fart noises, and like there's bathroom humor.
It's like a 5th grade
crowd.
That's like a 5th grade talent show thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got Dan Nauman, our singer, funky outer space singer, the old school skaters skating group, and Michael, I gather Michael Goldenberg, our sketch comedian.
Oh,
I got
you
that
actually got a last name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So our dancing whoopee cushion, funky outer space, the skating group, and Michael, rank those 1 to 4 for me.
Ooh, is 1 the worst or is 1 the best?
You choose.
Okay.
1's the best. 4 is the worst.
Okay. So if I had to go in order, so I would probably put the old school skaters as my number 1 pick. But that's only with the ringer.
Okay.
Then I would put, was it Eileen, the whoopee cushion.
Yep, dancing whoopee cushion. Okay,
Yep,
that's your number
yep, yep.
two.
I'd put her number two. Dan Nauman would be. I think they'd be way out there at 1 and 2. Then you'd have Dan, kind of pretty far down at 3, and then Michael is just not even on the chart, down at 4 somewhere. So
Okay, all right, yeah. I think know, Michael has the ability to be entertaining. Like he might be the Seth word, right? Like I didn't get it the first time, but now that I've seen it 5, 6, 7 times, like I'm kind of getting your what makes you so funny. But on the other hand, it just really wasn't that good either.
No, the story was absolutely terrible. The
was,
story didn't make any sense.
it was not great. Yeah, 3 and 4, you put them in whatever order you want. I was not impressed by either of them. Dan had a lot of energy, a lot of want to.
Yes.
And that means something. And then old school staters and Eileen. I feel like Eileen might actually be a really talented dancer, and she was going for the comedy alongside of the ability to dance, but it just didn't land with the judges. Kind of similarly with the old school skaters, like there's some raw talent there that we just did not get to see.
Hey, not everyone can ride a horse while singing opera.
So, right. Okay, so there you go.
That was they said this was about a 30-minute stretch where they just were not getting good stuff.
Yeah, and that's on the producers for like I would imagine that was on purpose, right? Like we're gonna churn through some bad acts, and we're gonna bring back some good ones here in a minute. So all right, that was the rank the rejected acts game. So there you go.
But while all this was going on, while this was going on, we had a couple of ladies backstage just all nervous because people were getting buzzed all over the place.
Yes, yeah. Did you notice there was a couple of old ladies in the audience that they kept panning to? My goodness, like what was up with that?
So I think a lot of it had to do with this act that's getting ready to come up, Double Dragon, with Andrea and Irene. And I had a couple of thoughts. I'm not sure how much they hold water, but these are just my thoughts.
Okay.
That Andrea and Irene that are getting ready to come up are twins.
Yep.
And the old ladies they kept showing were also twins.
Oh,
but the old ladies were also. You didn't notice?
Well, I noticed that they were dressed, similarly.
Yeah, so one of them was wearing like a cream shirt with a blue sweater, and the other one was wearing a blue shirt with a cream sweater, or something of that nature. So,
yeah. Okay.
But they were twins. They were older lady twins,
and
and they were sitting in front of what looked like Andrea and Irene's either family or friends. Because we'll kind of get into Double Dragon, but they're Andrea and Irene, who are also twins, originally from Lima, Peru, who now live in San Francisco. And when they talked about Lima, Peru, then these family members held up like a giant Peruvian flag, but they then kept hitting the flag on the back of those two older ladies. So my thoughts were, did AGT plant these ladies there, knowing that Andrea and Irene were getting ready to come up to kind of have a little gag? Because it just seemed rather odd that you had twins coming up on the stage, twins in the audience, sitting right in front of the twins' family, getting very, very annoyed with what's going on behind them. So
I don't know
that's my thought. That's my conspiracy theory on the whole thing.
It could have been serendipity, like we've got a camera trained on their family, and we just so happen to have these kind of cute old ladies next to each other that while we're waiting for Double Dragon to show up, let's make sure that we get some reaction shots from these old ladies too. I don't know. It could be serendipity, could be plans. I don't know. I don't put anything past them.
Yeah.
So let's get into Andrea and Irene then. Like you said, they're called Double Dragon. From San Francisco, originally from Lima. they do a song, "It's Raining Men," by what is it, the Weather Girls, and they throw off their capes, and they've got like some, what are they called, rompers, like some
See that
sparkly.
sequined sparkly sequined rompers. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably what. Yeah, that's a good description.
they're very confident and soulful and sparkly
Yes,
and sensual and I don't know, a lot of energy,
I think.
a
Yeah,
lot of
I think
personality
so.
on the stage right there.
I think Sophia described it. They have the Latin fire. They have the Latina fire.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, they're not they're not petite. They're full figured ladies, but they own it, and
Yes.
they're fun to watch. They
Oh,
play
they're
each other
yes.
well, and they enjoy each other. They hit all their notes. They do it with a whole lot of soul. Uh, it was a fun act to watch. I was smiling throughout. I I do not believe they can or will win, uh, but this is the kind of act that, um, like, I'm going to say yes to if I'm a judge, even though they're not the most not the most talented. They're a fun act.
Yeah, they're absolutely a fun act. I think of all the acts of the night, I think this is the one I had the most fun with. They're very energetic. They're very exciting. They've got a lot of fire. They love to sing. They hit every note, just like you said. Uh, they've got great harmonies. Their outfits are they're very sparkly, and they uh, they don't hide a whole lot. I'm not sure what I'm saying there, Jay. But the interesting, they had capes. I mean, they were wearing
Yeah.
capes and they threw them
What you see
off.
is what
And
you get. With
yeah, yeah.
engineering. Okay.
And they're red, white, and blue, so that it's like very America's Got Talent. It's like, hey, we're really excited to be on AGT this year. Um, I think Howie said it right. They are campy,
Yep.
but they're also funny.
Yep.
And yeah, I agree. I don't think they can win, but I hope they stick around a while, because I just think these types of songs, "It's Raining Men," and I think they can have a lot of fun. They get into live shows and actually have a full-fledged production with some
Hmm.
dancers and some
Yeah.
backup singers and a full band. I think they could have a lot of fun with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Sophia said, I think you guys are amazing. It was fun and full of energy. Heidi said, I found you super entertaining, and you have the pipes to back it up. Like you said, Howie, campy and funny. If you want to make people smile, you did it. And then Simon said, you guys got a standing ovation, and I love your reaction as much as the performance, right? Their reaction to the standing ovation. He enjoyed. So 4 yeses from the judges. They
Nope,
are
nope. 4 C's. They got 4 C's.
okay. All right. C.
C. Yeah.
Very good. Fun act. I'll look forward to seeing them again.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. I'm not sure about the name Double Dragon. I think I get it. I mean, there's two of them. They're twins. They're very fiery. They're very energetic. I'm not sure about the name though. It's, I think of the video game Double Dragon when I hear this. So, but we'll see. We'll see if that sticks around. I don't know if they'll just call them Andrea and Irene, if they continue to call them Double Dragon.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just seems, yeah.
They're not Asian. If that's you know a hang up on it, but you tend to equate like the Chinese culture with
Dragons.
dragons. I don't know,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, no, I don't know. You're hung up on the names tonight. You got the BAD Salsa and Double Dragon.
I guess. Yeah.
Like the pork chop review. If they don't do good, they're actually going to be pork chops. I'm afraid, right?
And I'm okay with that. Yes. I actually had pork chops for dinner. It's funny. I had pork chops for dinner tonight. So I was like,
all right. All right. Act number 11 of the night. We've got a gentleman named, by the way, this was a 2-hour episode, folks.
yeah.
So,
yeah, we're an hour 18 into our recording tonight. So
I kind of thought I was settling into a 1-hour episode when I first pulled it up, but it's like, okay, 2 hours. Here we go. Let's do it.
Oh no, Jay. These audition episodes are 2 hours every week.
Okay, so. Perfect. Okay. Vincent Marcus. He is a comedian slash impressionist from El Paso, Texas. Says he grew up in a very normal family. His dad was a police officer. His mom was a teacher. He happened to build up a following on Vine. That
R.I.P. Vine.
that platform as an impressionist. And he said, doing this in front of an audience is so different than doing it at home in my bedroom where I can do multiple takes and I can, redo it and redo it and redo it until I get exactly right and really hone it for a Vine video. So he says he's going to do some nursery rhyme rap. And first, he impersonates a rapper by the name of Eminem, doing the the nursery rhyme "Itsy Bitsy Spider." He does Snoop Dogg doing Patty Cake, Pitbull doing "Mary Had a Little Lamb," Wonder Mike doing "Hickory Dickory Dock," and then Jay-Z with "Humpty Dumpty," and then signs off again with Eminem. So Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Pitbull, Wonder Mike, and Jay-Z. What'd you think of the impressions? What'd you think of the act?
I really enjoyed this. This was fun too. It's interesting they talked about Vine because Vine no longer exists. So I hope he's on TikTok now because that's what all the kids are doing. So he needs to go back and talk to a couple of the acts from our online review from last week because TikTok is now a thing. But I loved the spin that he did on this, doing these big name rappers, but then just did like children's nursery rhymes. Some of them I thought kind of fit. I thought the one for Snoop Dogg was kind of perfect. Patty cake, and that could be a reference to some other things that Snoop Dogg participates in. So I thought it was very fitting. It was family friendly at the same time. We got these great impersonations. So this goes back to what we talked about earlier, where the judges and Terry were all telling us who he was doing. I don't think I would have got. I think I may have got Eminem. I didn't get any of these. I especially didn't get Pitbull or Jay-Z. So
I watched with the captions
just not
on, and it said, in the style of Eminem, in the style of Snoop Dogg, in
okay.
the style. So
Okay.
like it kind of showed his hand to me, and I kind of wish that I hadn't watched with the
Yeah.
captions just to see like what I would have heard. I don't listen to rap or hip hop, and I've certainly have exposure to I think all of these guys in one way or another, but it's not something that I go looking for. Wonder Mike, like that was a hit like back in like 1979, right? Like forever
Yeah. That
ago.
the Sugar Hill Gang or something?
Yeah, I think. Eminem is from early mid 90s, Snoop Dogg from late 80s. Like these go a ways back, but it's just not music that I listen to or spend much time with. So it was really like I'm curious what other impressions he does besides rappers, because
Mm-hmm.
in his intro video he was doing some other impressions, and it's like there's some talent here, but this isn't me. I'm not the target audience. I'm probably like the target audience age. Like everybody else like me is the target audience, but it's just not my thing. So I had a hard time really appreciating this material, or the quality of the impressions, because I just don't know them that well. But I'm interested to see what else he has. He's real
Yeah.
young, he's real hip, he's clearly talented. The people who get it got it, and that's enough for me to
Yeah.
say like you've got enough talent that I want to see more of this. But unfortunately this particular act didn't land really well with me.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone else seemed to get it and knew exactly who he was doing, which really helps. And I would say that there's probably a large audience that didn't know he was doing, and that's fine too. I think I still enjoyed it. It wasn't way off. It didn't seem bad like Reese Witherspoon or
Drew
Phoebe
Barrymore and
Buffet.
Sophie. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Drew Barrymore. You're right, Drew Barrymore or Phoebe Buffet. It didn't seem like it was that bad. It actually seemed like it was really good, and I loved the nursery rhyme aspect of it because
Yeah.
he did songs. I mean, he did kids songs that we all know, but in the form of these not safe for kids rappers.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so I thought that was a really, really good twist. Um, I'll be interested to see which impersonations he does in the next round, and what he brings to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll look forward. I'll look forward to seeing him again. What do you think
Yeah.
those grandma twins thought of Vincent Marcus?
I think they said, "Oh, those are cute nursery rhymes."
Adorable. I'll have to play this for my grandson. He's 4.
Yeah. Yeah,
Love
and
it.
that's the thing is you can play these songs for kids and they'll just enjoy it because they're nursery rhymes. So I think that was a smart move. And
Yep.
I mean, it's also they're in the public domain, so there's no copyright issue with them. So
Sure. Yep. And like people like to hear recognizable things.
yes,
Doing it in a way that's never been heard before, all the better. So the
yep,
material was quality. The the impressions were probably very good, but just unfortunately not my cup of tea. Heidi said you did fantastic. Sophia said your presence, everything. It was a joy to see you. You picked great recognizable voices. I loved it. Howie said, as somebody who does stand-up comedy, I'm addicted to a live response. The fact that you've never done this before, I think your life's going to change because you are an amazing live performer. Simon said you have real star quality about you. You're very current. The fact that you started on social media is a really interesting story. It was a great audition. So,
yeah. He said his occupation was social media, and they kind of looked at him funny.
yeah, I influencer. What a millennial. Jeez. Um, yeah, and this probably lands with a lot of people who are 10 20 years older than me down to 10 20 years younger than me, but 30 years younger than me. But
So
yeah,
so you think
that's
we're
that.
actually, you think that the target audience was actually outside of where we are?
No, I think
Normally when they're looking at these,
we're right in the heart of the target audience.
yes.
Just you and I are not are unfortunate. Okay, so I debated if I was going to bring this up, but I'm going to go ahead and do
Okay.
it because the conversation's
Yeah.
going here.
Sure.
Just this week, a friend on Facebook had posted a image of a CD cover. It was one of those Now CD covers. Now that's what I call whatever.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
So it was a farcical one. It said, "Now that's what I call Mongolian throat singing." I was like, "Oh, I love Mongolian throat singing." I clicked on it. It was like, "Oh, of course it's not real." Like, what was I thinking? But like, so on this thread, some people were making some comments about Mongolian throat singing. Oh, I prefer the Tuvan style throat singing, and da 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 da. And so I fall down this Mongolian throat singing hole, which I've fallen down before. I don't need to be sorry about that. But I ended up coming across a band called The Who, the HU, The Who, and they're a heavy metal / throat singing band. So I spent time this week listening to a heavy metal throat singing band, not any Snoop Dogg or Eminem or Jay-Z. And if he were going to go up there and do some throat singing, I would get a kick out of it, and I would really enjoy it. But again, I fall in the target audience range for age and demographics on so many ways. It's just not my thing.
So you and I are the outliers of the target audience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. All that to say, I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Check out The Who, HU, if you're looking for something interesting. There you go. The Who, not The Who, The Who.
The Who. Yeah.
Also not the Guess Who.
So Moses.
Okay. Gentleman named Moses from Spain. He is a dancer slash contortionist slash danger act. And he, we didn't really get much of a backstory on him, did we?
No, hardly any.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Let's see. No, his backstory was 42 seconds. That was his intro.
Okay. Yeah, it introduces himself as Moses. I think he goes by the Mui Moi Show, Muimoi Show, Mui Moi Show. But yeah, we got Moses.
Yes.
He's, like I said, dancer, contortionist, danger act. He's very smooth. He does contortionist things. He's putting flames out with his mouth, off the end of the sticks with flames on them. He did a thing where he jumped up and spun in slow motion. I think that was a camera trick, the slow motion, but there was a fireball.
No, I think he's actually talented enough to go that slow in midair.
He can control time. He created a fireball and it sort of disappeared by the time he landed. So that was interesting. I don't know if it was gas or something else, but that was kind of a thing. He stuck a knife up his nose, way up his nose. That looked incredibly dangerous. And then he showed a blade that was like in vice grips. It was positioned blade up on a table, and he shows how sharp it is by slicing a zucchini on the blade. And then he positions his mouth over the blade, like he bites it, and then he puts a cinder block on the back of his head, on the back of his neck, and Terry Crews comes out with a sledgehammer and busts the cinder block. And this is one of those things where I totally thought that they were going to go to commercial break, like as the sledgehammer is coming down, but they didn't.
Yes.
So thank you, thank you for that. We get to see the end of his act where he stands up and he covers his face as he stands up, and everybody's like, oh no, is he okay? And he takes his hands away. He's got a big old cheeky smile on his face, and it turns out he's okay after biting this blade while his cinder block is busted off of his back of his head. So there you go. Judge's comments. Sophia said, does your mother know you do this? Heidi said, that was scary, with suspense at the end, and your crotch was on fire. Simon said it was dance. There was fire. Nearly got your head chopped off, all in 2 minutes. You're a born entertainer. Howie said it was so dangerous and exciting. Sophia, how do you say insane in Spanish? And I didn't write down the answer to that. But again, it was another 4 yeses from the judges for Moses. This felt like a pretty standard danger act, all things considered. Not a whole lot that we haven't seen.
It was solid. I felt it was
solid. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I at the beginning I was really expecting him to be more of a dancer, kind of dancer contortionist like we've seen before. I'm glad it turned into a danger act. We needed a danger act. I felt AGT did a good job of really mixing different types of acts up tonight. We had dance, we had sing, we had danger, we had an impressionist, we kind of had some comedy a little bit. So there was a nice mix tonight, and we needed this danger act to kind of top all that off. I thought he did a fine job. It wasn't anything spectacular. He's really going to have to work on it for the next round.
Yeah, he rounded out the episode really well. But like Simon said, you did this all in just 2 minutes. If you want more dance, then we're going to have to go to 2.5 minutes, right? If you want more contortion, we're going to have to go to 3 minutes. There's only so much you can do in the time allotted, which they kind of kept going back to 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. So I think he was respectful of the time limits that they put on him. And he packed a lot in there. He really did.
Yeah, I think Simon may have been listening to our podcast last couple of seasons, because we're always talking about how much time these acts get. And Simon seemed to really point out almost every act 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. What can you do in 2 minutes? You got 2 minutes.
Yep.
So he wanted to make sure we knew how long these acts actually have.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for listening, Simon. Hi.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they kind of went 2.5. Ryan Tricks went over 4.5 minutes
Oh, really?
on his.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, most of them were in the 2 minutes. Double Dragon was 1.5. Vincent Marcus was a minute. So
Oh,
give or take.
wow. Hmm.
Yep.
Huh. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Vincent Marcus was just 60 seconds. Man,
Yes. Yeah.
that's
Those
crazy.
nursery rhymes, man, they don't take long.
Well, Vine doesn't give you much bandwidth
Vine
either.
doesn't.
So
Actually, TikTok doesn't either. So
right.
Vine doesn't give you anything. It's no longer exists.
Okay. Last act of the night. You ready for this one?
Yeah, let's do this.
We got the Voices of Our City Choir. They are from San Diego, made up of people experiencing homelessness. The director said she started it about 4 years ago. There's a lot of unsheltered people in her neighborhood who were musicians and singers, and so she said, "You know what? I'm going to start a choir." And they raise money to help the members, or people experiencing homelessness, to get a leg up, to get some shelter, to get some care, to get off the street. And that's sort of who we're looking at here. And you've got such a wide variety of people, from very old to very young to uh, fit to quite infirmed. It appeared.
Yeah.
And they're going to sing us an original song written by the choir on one of their songwriting workshop events that they held. And what was it? I'm guessing it was called "Listen to the Sound of the Sidewalk" or "Sounds of the Sidewalk" or something like that.
That's what I got. Yeah.
What did you think of the Voices of Our City Choir?
So homelessness is something that hits. I mean, that can hit anybody. I think they said that it doesn't choose race, it doesn't choose age, it doesn't choose gender. It can pretty much hit anybody, and it's a terrible thing. Some of these people said they'd been homeless decades. I mean, since they were teenagers. So it's a really heartbreaking thing. This is a good program and I didn't write down her name. This is a good program this lady has put together. Did you write it down? What her
I don't
name
think
is?
they gave us her name.
Okay, the lady that's in charge of it. I think it's a great program that she's done here, where she's brought these homeless people in, let them sing. They have an outlet. I think they're helping them to kind of get back on their feet a little bit. Get them maybe jobs or finding places to live, feed them, whatever it may be. I think they're helping them out a little bit based on this program. So that's really good. So as far as the feels go on this, I think it's a great thing. If we were to look at the talent of the choir, and first off, before I get to that, I'm on this trend of names. They need to shorten the name. They need to drop the choir part. Yeah. I think just Voices of Our City would be just a much better name. They don't need the choir part.
I actually like that.
So
that's really good. Yep.
Of just Voices of Our City.
Yeah, just Voices of Our City.
Yeah,
I think that's a fantastic.
Just Voices of Our City.
Yep.
Yeah. But as far as the talent goes, I really liked when they started off. I thought the lady that's in charge, I think even her drummer as well, I thought the instrumentation was just fantastic. It was really good. She was a really good singer. But then when the choir themselves came in, I didn't feel like it was quite there. I didn't feel like it's that caliber of choir that we've seen the last few years. I get these people may not be trained singers. They may not have some of them may not be experienced in it at all. It's just kind of they brought them together. Hey, let's sing as a choir and let's go try it for AGT. I'm sure that they've been singing together for some time, but they may not be fully trained and skilled as a choir. So I didn't feel that it was there. It's real nice seeing these people up on stage. This was Terry's golden buzzer, but I felt it was more of a America's Got Feels golden buzzer and not America's Got Talent golden buzzer. The program that they're doing is fantastic. I don't feel like it's a top-notch talent choir. It's probably good enough to get through the next round. I don't think this is, on their talent alone, I don't think it's probably good enough to win this.
Yeah. I love the justice, that they have a mission in what they're doing, that they are, helping them in so many ways, not just a musical outlet, but that there's, ways that they are supporting, homelessness or to meet people where they're at. And for so many reasons, it's such a fantastic program. As you said, I 100% agree. The musicality of it was not the best. They are not a plus choir, but they're good enough, and their story's good enough that I'm okay with this being Terry Crews's buzzer, golden buzzer. I'm okay with this being sort of his baby. It's in line with sort of who he is, and with his heart and his soul and what he wants to see on the stage. So I have zero problems with that. Other judges' comments. Sophia said that was beautiful. It was so perfect. It was fantastic. Howie said, homelessness is pervasive, and we need to solve this problem. What you're doing blows me and the entire audience away. Heidi said, I feel the camaraderie. I feel the togetherness. It moved me. It was really beautiful. Simon said, watching this choir, there's not question that there's strength in numbers. We need the raw talent to begin with, and that's what we've got. You've made something happen. So there's the raw talent there. They can tighten up. They can get better. And I feel like it's a fine way to end the night. I may have more enjoyed them in the middle of the night, and let's end with Archie Williams at the end. That might have been maybe a little different story, but you can tell that this choir, it's a rough crowd. They've seen some really hard times amongst them, and it'll be interesting to see how they do on future shows. But it's a kind of group that I'm not going to vote against them. I liked them. I want all the good in the world for them.
Yeah, how would you stack them up against the Detroit Youth Choir or the Inlovu Choir from last year?
Third of three.
Okay.
Yeah. In so many ways they run parallel to Undlovu Youth Choir. Sort of living in poverty, coming from poverty, but there's talent, and they want to live it as the best they can, and bring joy to the world in the process. So but not great. Detroit, what was it? Detroit Youth Choir. They've got a little bit more spunk to them. But I don't think this was as good as either of those two.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. It's they need a lot of work. If they're gonna move on, they've still got a lot of work to do.
Yep. Well, good. There you go. That's all the acts. That's all there was. 13 acts. I suppose only 11 of them were 10 of them were real acts. 10 of them.
10 of them. Yep.
And then the 3-4 sort of rejected acts. So Pork Chop Review, Bad Salsa, Broken Roots, Malik Dope Drummer, Ryan Tricks, Archie Williams, Double Dragon, Vincent Marcus, Moses or the Moi Moi Show, and Voices of Our City Choir. And that is that's it for Auditions 1. We'll be back in another week with a lot more, I hope. And sign off, I'd say, wash your hands, stay safe, and enjoy what you can with the time we got here.
Yeah, I'm still interested of what's going to come over the next few weeks because it said 17 days before the lockdown, but they weren't recording all 17 of those days. They probably only recorded 2 or 3 days a week. So, they may only have 6 or 8 days worth of recording in the can. So it'll be very interesting how much they can stretch that across 6 audition weeks. So plus judge cuts.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of this. It's I appreciate I, it's one thing to sort of just try and pretend like there's nothing going on, or pretend like it's business as usual, and that's kind of what we got on this first episode. It's like it's really just business as usual. There's no no pretending that it's not. They're going to have to address the elephant in the room here soon.
Yeah.
And America's Got Talent season 15 2020 is going to be a weird season. It's going to have to be. Things are going to change. I don't know how. I don't know what they're going to do, but this train has started rolling down the tracks, so here we go.
Get on board.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it. Let me kind of just close this out with some business again real quick. So if you've reached until the end, just remember we're on the social medias. AGT Time on Twitter. I'm on there. Cody L. Patterson. Jay's on there at One Man Bander. We're on the Facebook AGT Cast, and you reach us through email agtcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, comments. We'd love for you to leave a review on iTunes or Apple Podcast or whatever. And give us 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that. We'll be back next week, next Thursday. Be June. Jay?
Man. Wow. All right. See you in June, everybody.
Yep. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.